spirituality, her own out-of-the-box methods. Joining me now to tell us about her special practices and share how we can perhaps unlock a wider way of thinking is mystical therapist Rachel Fiori. Rachel, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Now, first and foremost, what exactly is a mystical therapist?
It is somebody who studies psychoenergetic science, the science of energies and how that impacts our emotional, mental state of being and even our behaviors, how we react to things.
Absolutely. So you speak of highly sensitive people in your programs, I understand. So can you explain a little bit more about what that is and how you can tell if you are a highly sensitive person?
Yeah, so it's a highly sensitive person is the way a person's nervous system actually functions. They process things very, very, very deeply. So the energies in the environment around you, stimulation that is around you, other people, you will feel these energies, whether you're aware of them or not, know what they are or not, and you process very, very deeply. The emotional state of being of a highly sensitive person, they process and feel very, very deeply, which allows them to actually connect to people on a much deeper level and identify things that are wrong with another person's emotional state. When you're highly sensitive, you have the ability to pick up on things that the average person misses. They make really great detectives, good lie detectors, but also really good healers and therapists and coaches.
Right. So let's talk about a little bit about what you do. So what does a session from you look like as well? So what will you benefit? What would you get out of a session with a mystical therapist?
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, I'm going to mention that I work with energy. And what that means is you first understand in energetic sciences that we are made of energy. That's a real thing. That's updated science. And there's energy fields all around us, including around our body. So what we start to do is identify our emotions, old traumas, unhealed stuff. All that is in a person is just a form of energy that is trapped and linked to you. It's just trapped. It's a part of who you are. You don't even realize why it's still there. When people go to traditional therapy or coaching, if they're not dealing in energetics, it's why somebody can go get coaching or therapy for 30 years and still be stuck in anxiety or depression. When you learn the energetic science of your emotions just as energy, you actually learn how to change that energy into something different. You don't have to be sad or grieving anymore. You learn how to transform that energy step by step into something that is more elevated. It frees you emotionally. No more depression, no more anxiety. You can completely heal these things if you're willing to learn how. It's an easy step-by-step process, but it does take some time to learn because it's learning to work with energy, and we're not used to learning that in today's world.
Yeah, and what does that process look like? Like you say, a lot of us aren't used to going through this process of being in touch with our own energy. So what does that process look like? And perhaps for someone who hasn't experienced an experience like this before?
Yeah, so we start very simply. And the first thing is we start with the fact that you were triggered by something. And triggered just means I was pulled out of peace. Something is activated in my body. I feel uncomfortable. I feel nervous. I might be angry about something. I might be a little worried about the future. Those are all energies running through the body. So step one is learning in our coaching programs, okay, I was triggered. That's number one, self-awareness. And number two, what are my mental programs? What are my emotional programs? And all that means is learning how to identify, what is my mind saying about this? My mind might be saying, oh, that's not fair. You're a jerk. That was unkind. And that's where we start, because those are just energies floating through the brain, floating through the mind. Emotionally, how do you feel? You identify your emotional programs. Well, I'm angry, I'm annoyed, I'm frustrated. Great. Those are 3 different types of energy that are now floating through your body. It's that simple. When you learn how to identify them, you then learn, okay, great. Is this comfortable? Do you want to be in this energetic state? Simple yes or no. And if the answer is no, You then learn the process to transform that state of energy simply into something else. Would you rather feel peaceful? Would you rather feel calm, joy? Now you learn how to do that step by step, 1 week at a time.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for sharing this with us on Ticket Insight today. We hope to see you again on the show soon.
Thank you so much.
Now, next up, and what do millennial women need to do in order to consolidate both being a mother, but also being an entrepreneur without feeling the guilt that is often associated with parents who take on other roles as well? Well, Tracy Litt joins me now from The Lit Factor to talk about personal growth and coach us through some ideas. Tracy, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, firstly, can you share with us a little bit about what you do at The Lit Factor?
Yes, so we are a personal growth and coaching company, and we focus in helping visionary leaders and entrepreneurs take themselves to the next level so that they can generate the next level of their impact, their wealth, and their holistic success.
For sure. And how does entrepreneurship introduce a new paradigm for working mums?
It really wakes us up to leaving the 20th century paradigm of motherhood behind. And it invites us to embrace a whole new way of what I call momming, right? And expander parenting. You know, we're in the 21st century, and quite frankly, we deserve a 21st century paradigm on what it means to be a multifaceted woman, to expand your identity beyond just motherhood and realize that you are more than one thing.
For sure. And what are the steps that millennial mums need to take in order to not feel so guilty about wanting to go on a new journey and do more than just be a mother?
Well, the first thing is compassion, right? Really open your heart up for yourself, and then realize that the guilt that you are experiencing is unhelpful. And it's actually unnecessary because it's being driven by a narrative of I'm not being a good mom if I'm working, if I'm building a business, if I'm not available 24/7 for my kids, and recognizing that you have the opportunity to liberate yourself from that guilt because it's become an emotional addiction, essentially, right? So many of us are so accustomed to feeling guilty as part of our norm. And this whole experience gets to wake us up to a whole different way of feeling.
And some would say being a parent is perhaps, especially being a mother, is the biggest job you could ever have. So how can you merge parenting with building your own company?
Such a good question. And it's interesting. I'm a mother of 3 myself, you know, and an entrepreneur, founder, and CEO of The Lit Factor. And the first thing that we need to do is expand our self-image, right? Because what if parenting isn't the most important role of your life? Maybe it's one of many roles of your life, including